Hey everyone, all right, as promised, my bucket list. So there's a lot of things in life that I'd like to accomplish, like learning how to play the sitar, which I bought in India like 6 years ago, and it's just sitting there getting dusty. Mastering the languages of Spanish and Italian. I could speak a little bit of both. Writing a couple books, etc. These things are things I like to accomplish in my lifetime, but my bucket list are things I like to experience in the next couple decades, and they mostly include traveling. So here we go. Skydive. As long as I can remember, I've been wanting to skydive, and there's something holding me back. It's probably the jumping out of the plane part, but yes, skydiving, and my wife doesn't want me to skydive, and so that may or may not happen. I think the only way that I'm going to be able to skydive is if I convince my wife to skydive with me, and I don't know if that would play out, so we'll see how that goes. Number 2, I would love to experience zero gravity, and one way to do so is to hop aboard the space shuttle or a rocket ship going into outer space. I have not completed my my astronaut training yet. I haven't started it yet either, so I think the only way I'm going to be able to accomplish zero gravity is if I book myself aboard a Zero G Parabolic flight, and those are the ones where you see people floating around in this cushiony fuselage. I think that looks like fun, don't you? Again, my wife probably will frown upon that idea, and so again, we'll see how that plays out as well. All right, number 3. As you may have guessed, I'm a bit of a space nerd. I've traveled to a couple different countries just to see a solar eclipse. One natural phenomena that I have not witnessed yet, and I will, is an Aurora Borealis. And of course, I could go to Alaska to see it, which would be just fantastic. But I have this idea of going to Iceland to see the Aurora Borealis. So Iceland for Aurora Borealis. Number 4, the pyramids of Egypt. Ever since I've been a little boy, I've dreamed about going to the pyramids. I picture myself riding on a camel across the desert, parking that camel at the foot of the pyramid, and walking inside the pyramid and checking it out. Now, most people are not allowed inside the pyramid. It's a very sacred place, but I have a friend whose mother is a tour guide that specializes in Egypt and the pyramids in particular, I believe, and she could get people inside the pyramid. And you know who you are. That was a failed attempt at a wink, but okay, yeah, the pyramids. All right, number 5, taking a boat down the Amazon. Now, I don't want to be the captain of that boat. I want to be the passenger, so I can enjoy a lot of beers and just kind of enjoy the scenery as well. So yeah, the Amazon with a lot of mosquito repellent, because mosquitoes love me. Number 5, I like to visit the great Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan and take a hike up the trail that leads to the majestic Tiger's Nest Monastery. You may have seen it in photos. It looks gorgeous. I've been wanting to go to Bhutan for quite some time, and I don't know if it's still true, but they limit the number of tourists to about 300 a year, something like that. I could be wrong on that, but nevertheless, Bhutan. Number 7, an African safari. I think every little kid wants to go to Africa to see all those wild animals, and I'm no exception. I've been wanting to go to Africa to see wild animals for a long time, and one thing I'd really like to witness is one of the last great animal migrations on Earth, the wildebeest, the water buffalo. Seeing hundreds or thousands of them make that trek would be amazing, so probably via helicopter, I would imagine. I don't know, but of course I'd like to see the gorillas, the lions, the giraffes, the zebras, all that stuff. So African safari. Number 8, oh yes, I like to take a journey on the Trans-Siberian Railway. My mom had always wanted to do this. I remember her talking about it a lot. So it goes from Moscow to the Russian Far East, and it's about 6,000 miles. So I'd like to do that in honor of my mother at some point. Okay, so number 9. Now, I've been to Peru, I've hiked to Machu Picchu, but I'd like to go back to Peru and seek the guidance of a shaman. I could get kind of, should be an interesting little journey. So yes, a shaman in Peru, that would be cool. All right, number 10, I like to take a month and travel across the United States in a motorhome with my family and camp, or camp, or you know, like be in a motorhome. So take a month and go across the United States and go to some of the great national parks, some of them that I haven't been to. All right, so as you notice, most of these involve traveling, and I'd like to do all the traveling with my family. And a quick note on that, my wife Victoria is pregnant and she's due September 1st, and we have a 2-year-old Julian right now, and I ideally like to do all this traveling when, you know, the youngest one is maybe 2 or 3, I don't know. So I got a lot of work here, and you know, I think that the only one that we'd leave off the family list would be Peru, because that could get a little funky. So there we go. There's my bucket list. What's on your list? See you guys.